Alright, it's time to dive into the next massive leak for version 3.5 because Hysilens is looking absolutely terrifying. If you're a fan of damage over time teams, debuff stacking, or just making enemies completely helpless while they bleed out, this character is about to be your new favorite. Hysilens is a 5-star Physical Nihility unit, and she's basically designed to drown your enemies in debuffs and damage over time effects. While crippling their stats across the board, she brings control, utility, and absurd amounts of passive damage all in one. Starting simple, her basic attack is your standard single target physical hit. It's nothing crazy, just there to keep her rotation flowing. But that's where the simplicity ends. Her skill is an EO blast of physical damage, but more importantly, it guarantees a debuff on all enemies that increases the damage they take by 20% for 3 turns. So right from the start, your whole team benefits, and enemies become significantly more vulnerable. Now, her ultimate is where the real chaos begins. When she fires this off, she creates a zone effect that completely shreds enemy stats. Anyone inside this area gets their ATK reduced by 15%, and their DEF gutted by 25%, making them weaker and easier to burst down. On top of that, it deals a huge 300% physical AO nuke when the zone deploys. But the zone isn't just a stat debuff, it also turns the battlefield into a ticking time bomb for enemies suffering from dumber overtime effects. Every time an enemy inside the zone takes damage, it triggers an extra hit of physical based on 80% of Hysilens' AC. This can happen up to 8 times at the start of each turn, or whenever an ally takes an action. Basically, the more happening, the more bonus damage they suffer. And it stacks fast. The zone lasts for 3 turns, but if Hysilens gets knocked down, it vanishes early, so protecting her keeps your control setup going. Now her talent brings even more madness to this kit. Every time she uses her basic skill or ultimate, she applies random effects to enemies. We're talking Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, or Shock, Physical, Elemental. You name it, she prioritizes spreading different states, so your enemies can get layered with multiple effects at once. Those effects each do extra every turn. Wind Shear, Burn, and Shock tick for bonus damage based on 25% of her ATK. But Bleed is where it gets brutal. It deals damage based on 20% of the enemy's max HP, capped at 25% of her ATK, which is huge against high health bosses. So she's constantly stacking effects that chip away at enemies without them even acting. Her technique brings even more battlefield control. Before combat, she creates a moving dimension that puts nearby enemies into a trance. They stop attacking her and follow the dimension harmlessly. If you engage them in that state, she instantly applies to random effects to each one, making her perfect for setting up fights with free damage from the start. And that's just the basics. The deeper passives crank her scaling to absurd levels. The more effect hit rate you build beyond 60%, the more bonus damage she gets, up to a ridiculous 90% damage increase if you min-max her stats properly. Whenever her allies attack, she gets extra chances to apply those states too, meaning the whole team keeps spreading her damage effects. And right at the start of combat, she auto-deploys her damage zone for free, giving you an immediate advantage. If you like strategies, she's designed to make your enemies suffer before they can even react. But wait, her Hysilens take this to a whole new level of cruelty. Her first unlock makes her ultimate even nastier if enemies all read. Why have dots? They take an instant hit, worth 150% of the original damage. Basically a massive burst before the steady ticks even begin. Plus, deploying her zone refunds one skill point, so you maintain tempo easily. Her second unlock makes enemies even more vulnerable inside the zone, reducing their all-type resistance by 20%, letting both her and your teammates punch through defenses harder. At her fourth unlock, the massive damage boost from building effect hit rate applies to all allies while the zone is active. turning your entire team into abusing monsters. And finally, at max Eidolon, her zone gets completely upgraded. Her bonus physical triggers increase by 4 more times per turn, and every time she applies a state through her talent or passive effects, she can stack on an extra random state with a guaranteed 100% chance, effectively drowning enemies in layers of unavoidable stacking damage. In short, Hysilens is built to create pure battlefield chaos. She weakens enemies, reduces their defenses, applies crippling debuffs nonstop, and punishes them with endless passive damage, all while your team follows up with even more pressure. If you love focused teams or disrupting enemy defenses, she's going to be a must-pull. She looks tailor-made for synergy with other Nihility units, especially those who stack status effects, and she'll be ridiculous in content like bosses or waves where multi-target pressure is key. Hysilens is easily looking like one of the most dangerous Nihility units we've seen leaked so far. Let me know how you feel about her, and who you plan to pair with this queen of debuffs in version 3.5.